Hello and welcome. We're at the very well-known and prestigious Gargi College here in Delhi, speaking to a bunch of young and enthusiastic students on the road ahead for them and what would they like to see change in the years ahead. First and foremost, in our early conversation with them, we've just figured that most of them are keen on studying further and not going for that job which most youngsters, or many youngsters in fact, do seem to be chasing. Why is that? Why do you believe that you ought to study further even now?
See, it's pretty simple that today we face immense competition. So, if we're going for a job right after our undergrad, I think we're lacking the required skill set to which we can, give back to the company. We need to be committed to ourselves and the company that we go for. So, it just makes sense to first do a master's, get the required skill set, and then, give back.
And but there are all those others who always say that there's the how really your work experience, and you have to start somewhere and you have to get it. How do you sort of see this? How can one really strike a balance?
Personally, I think that it's just moving apart from the masses. Like doing a master's is really mastering your skill at whatever you're studying. So if you are moving apart from the masses and gaining an edge over others, it really means that you are better than the others and you deserve much more in terms of pay. That is why that is a major point that youngsters look into when they feel that they should study further instead of doing jobs today.
Right, but do you sort of feel, you wanted to make a point, do you sort of feel that that view is sort of in a minority, that for everyone who wants to study more, there are perhaps even more who want to get that job as soon as possible?
That may be true, but for people like me who want to study further, there's also this sense of wanting to experience other things before I settle for one particular job. I want to maybe do more jobs, I want to intern with other companies, I want to experience life before I want to settle for that particular job. So for people like us, it's more about the added value of that experience than to, get the job, earn money and settle in life.
So let me just try and get this right. You're saying that I don't have sort of one clear idea in my head. I want to go out there, I want to see what's on offer, I want to experiment before I make an informed choice. Yeah?
Yeah, like you were right in the view that there are many people who do wish to go up for a job soon after the graduation is completed. But there are many more who wish to have a learning experience in life, who wish to learn. And alongside learning, they can also do a job or maybe have an experience so that when they go out for the exact job that they want. For instance, if I wish to do a research, and if I have an experience in that alongside having a master's degree, that will act as an advantage and I will be able to grow more when I even join the job.
I have to say, it's amazing clarity at your age. None of us had that, when we were where you are. Carry on. Sorry.
So like she said, we want to study further because in today's time you get these opportunities of internships, like your summer holidays, your winter holidays. You can work for a company which gives you a decent work experience with no stipend, of course, and it gives you a chance to sort of venture into different.
You can manage both.
Yes,
you can get that without compromising on this.
On your studies,
Right.
yes. And then when you sort of realize that, okay, this is a field that I would like to venture on further,
Right.
you can do your masters in it and then get a better job
Right.
with a work experience
Right.
simultaneously.
Tell me one thing. What is it like at home then? What is the conversation over dinner, for instance, like? Is it about what are you going to do? Do you have clarity? How much you're going to experiment? The usual stuff that all of us have dealt with at home. Like, come on, make up your mind.
I have a slightly different situation at home. Since I think 8th grade, I've wanted to pursue journalism. And then my mom was like, everybody does a BJMC and comes into journalism. So she told me to take...
Maybe not everybody, but okay.
majority
Yeah.
of people. So that's why I took economics honors and then came into, then pursue journalism. But she has... actually given me the opportunity to consider economics honors, but choose internships with some magazines and write for them, and so that I gain that experience and make an informed choice.
Now, how many of you believe that this is something that you would like to attempt or like to sort of try your hands with, try yourself with, experiment with, or are majority of you at the end of the day looking for a more sort of settled, safer, maybe not 9 to 5, but you know what I mean, sort of like a more sort of regular job?
I think I would belong to the group that would try to that would like to try their hands at entrepreneurship, as in doing something for the society. Because we as students, we believe that we can be change makers, and for being change makers, I think entrepreneurship is one step we can take to bring about the kind of change we are looking for today in the society, in the country. After all, I feel our education is also about giving back to the society what we have taken from
And that's
them.
of course that's really good to hear. You're not just talking about entrepreneurship for yourself or perhaps people around you. You're talking about social entrepreneurship, about making a difference. What is the kind of stuff that you perhaps could be looking at? You're all sort of part of this group that
So
works
yeah,
with
we
this
are a part of
extensively.
Enactus, which is basically a social entrepreneurship, and we are looking into a lot of things. We're looking into Rachna, that is our first project, main project, which basically focuses on women and teaching them how to stitch and earn for their own living. And our second project is Udan, which is on its research stage, but it's basically looking at the health factor, because it's basically about sanitary napkins. So yeah, it's basically targeting the health factor also for basically women. Yeah.
And what's the experience been like? Someone who hasn't spoken yet. What's the experience been like? I would imagine that something like this can be quite an eye opener.
When I joined Enactus, I thought that we'll be venturing into slums, we'll be going in the dingy lanes where there are impoverished people, and we'll be doing something for them. So I'll tell you my experience right now. The other day we went to the slum and we met the kids. Obviously, when they see people who are well dressed and they're entering the slums, they're curious, bunch of children. So they asked, "Didi, आप यहाँ पे क्यों आए हो?" So we said, हम आपकी मम्मियों के लिए business करने आए हैं. So the whole idea of Enactus is that we set up a business plan for the slum people. And see, we go by the code that if you give a man a fish, he'll be satisfied for a day. But then if you teach the man fishing, then he'll be satisfied for the entire life. So we believe in creating sustainability. And if we help create a business plan for them, then they'll be earning income and then they'll be settled for life.
Right.
So
Set them on the path of sort of self-reliance and independence for life. Okay, what's the one big surprise that you've discovered in college? Not so much limited to your college, but about being in college, about being a college student in India at this time. Yeah.
On the first day of college, I guess everybody would agree on that we have those initial jitters, because in school time you're like the, pampered kid,
More
and
sort
also
of secure, not out into the big
Exactly.
bad world, as it were.
exactly, and then also that you're famous in school, and when you join college,
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I'll boast of that. I was right famous in my school. But yeah, in college, it's like you have to develop your identity once again. And so it gets you fidgety and nervous. But then I realized that something new, if you're confident about yourself, and if you have that high self-esteem, you can survive in any environment.
And that must sort of come with its own sort of challenge and responsibilities, of course, because it sort of
obviously. I
does
mean,
open
yeah,
whole
because
new
see,
doors.
there are always a positive and a negative side to the coin. So it's the same case in this scenario.
We get to travel anywhere we want. It's no more like you go to school and then you have to take the school bus and go back. So you can always miss classes. Nobody bothers.
But then in Delhi, you always have the question of security. So even if you have that freedom, I personally don't think I've utilized it as much as I had planned or imagined to. Like when I thought that I'm gonna be in college, I was like, wow, I'm gonna use it to its fullest. But now, even now, like I have my family, they call and they check up on me 20 times a day. Every day, till now. I'm in second year now. They're like, where are you? Are you safe? When are you coming back? How are you coming back? With whom are you coming back?
No, I can imagine, because it doesn't matter whether you're in second year or third year, whether you're working, whether you've been working 5 years or
So-
50 anymore.
So the
That's
surprise
the sort of sad
for me
commentary
was
on-
that even though I've been allotted a lot of freedom, I don't think I've utilized it as much as I had planned or thought of doing. I have my share of fun, but not as much as I had thought I would.
Right. If I can just sort of ask all of you now to raise your hands to answer this question. I'm sure it is, of course, very frustrating to be in this situation, to sort of go to college, know your responsibilities, know what you want to do not want to do and all of that, and yet not be able to enjoy it because there's this great shadow of your safety lurking on you. How many of you believe, and you can raise your hands if you agree, that this will change in the next couple of years?
Not in the next couple of years, sorry.
I'll just share this personal experience that I had. The other day I was at the Saket metro station and none of the autowalas were willing to go.
So I called up, I sort of exercised my right. I called up the police and told them that none of them are willing to go. Within 10 minutes, the police was standing at the metro station for my security, ensuring that any one of the autowalas standing there will take me to the destination. And then they called up to check on me if I had reached safe, if he charged from the meter. I was very impressed the way the whole police functioned.
It's always heartwarming to hear those stories. There might not be too many that one hears, but it's always great to hear them, so you know that they are on track.
If we can't change the mindsets of people, I at Gargi believe we can change our students. Like, I'm the president of my students union, and we can have self-defense classes and many classes we have in our college, so that we can train our students, we can train our girls to help protect them if any case they are in any problem, if they are in any problem.
Right, I agree. I would imagine that you can't be too safe, really. You know, your safety at the end of the day is in your hands. But how many of you take those classes, those self-defense classes, or are trained in some sort of self-defense techniques?
Okay. Self-defense classes in our college. We had self-defense classes in our college, and I think what we're really trying to figure out is when will we have the freedom. It's important to note that currently we feel like birds in a cage. Now, for us, the cage keeps getting bigger, but at the end of the day, it's still a cage.
What about the quality of employable students?
Quantity is covered, but the quality is missing.
We need to lead on education and employment if we are to change these numbers that we are looking at.
Current assessment frameworks in asking the child, I would like to know, what do you know, needs to shift to say, I would like to know, what can you do with what you know?
There is significant gap there, and we need to invest in our vocational education institutions, our infrastructure. The second is some kind of specific incentive for the industry.
What about the quality of employable students?
Quantity is covered, but the quality is missing.
We need to lead on education and employment if we are to change these numbers that we are looking at.
Current assessment frameworks in asking the child, I would like to know, what do you know, needs to shift to say, I would like to know, what can you do with what you know?
There is significant gap there, and we need to invest in our vocational education institutions, our infrastructure. The second is some kind of specific incentive for